here in Meagher Valley, basing at the brewery, and the difficulty is higher than a half-price babysitter. Oh my god, no! This is No Man's Land, and today we solidify our base and get a strong foothold over the most deadly blood plague since the 1340s. So far we have a lounge being upgraded to level 2, a hydroponics, a level 1 farm, a level 2 infirmary, level 2 workshop, as well as the built-in facilities being a tasting room and 2 craft stills, which I'm currently using to turn my food into fuel. Molotovs can't craft themselves, you know. I want to make some significant changes that allow us to not only survive No Man's Land, but thrive within it as we take strides in eradicating all 72 black plague cards. But in order to do that, I'm going to need considerably more building materials. However, the majority of the map outside of plague territory has already been heavily scavenged, so I'm going to have to get creative in order to get the loot we need. So I take over as Abrams, as he's the closest community member we have to becoming a hero, and his hero bonus is something that's going to be very useful indeed. Kitchen Patrol grants 150 plus infection resistance, which will help out massively to cut down my plague cure bill. I tend to pick up more infections than an 1800s cowboy. So in order to get myself some building materials, I'm gonna have to take down some plague carts and pray they gift me with some building sacks, and failing that I hope to free up enough of plague zone in order to claim a few more building material outposts that'll grant me a daily resource. The first plague cart I'm targeting just so happens to be right next to a level 2 infestation. So before I even start, I get to use the apocalypse's greatest weapon to eradicate the local crackhead population, my arse. I also managed to take out 2 screamers without leaving the car, although I still somehow get partial infection. I guess I should have turned on the air recirculate button within the pickup. Now the infestation has been dealt with, I'm thinking the smart play is to leave the area in order for the hordes to disperse, so I make my way to the other plague cart nearby, which just so happens to be pretty near a hostile enclave. I'm pretty sure I'll figure out a way to use them to my advantage. After parking up, I pop some Adderall and throw myself through the front window, and after failing to remove the residents quickly and effectively, I resort to plan B. With residual damage being done to the heart, as well as fire spreading amongst the hordes, I'm hoping to get granted with some alone time with the plague cart, which works out brilliantly until a crackhead decides to ruin the fun. So I lead it outside for a little dance and eliminate it without even needing an aerial advantage. I can then go back to beating the heart while the hordes surround me, but unfortunately my stim has now run out, so I swap to snacks in order to keep my lungs working strong. Then once the undead have reached maximum capacity, it's time to drop our second molly. That grants me some time with the heart, although there's still a threat present, and I'm still trying to manage my stimulants like an ADHD patient without medical insurance. Praise be the NHS, am I right, lads? Unfortunately, this does mean my stamina is pretty much non-existent as I take on a plague feral outside, crouching to hopefully regain as much lung capacity as quickly as possible, but sadly it's not enough. Come on, you bastard. Shit! Nope. And at this point I've realised I've forgotten to pack plague cure. Literally the one thing I always rely on heavily. Looks like we're gonna need our A game to get out of here in one piece, and keeping Abrams alive should be our top priority. And with the hordes as large as they currently are, I think it's time to utilise the hostile enclave. I'm not gonna kill the hostiles because they are useful currently. Although I do make sure to down one, although he is admittedly still breathing, this will send a message to his mates, as well as being rather loud, so it'll help with attracting the hordes away from the plague cart. Although maybe that message wasn't scary enough, as I'm now dodging headshots like I'm a presidential nominee. Luckily they have enough problems on their plate and don't bother following me far, so I can get some alone time with the plague cart, and I almost immediately complete the first phase, which isn't great timing as now the heart is going to call all those knobheads I've just led away. And I've also got to deal with a feral, and like the Catholic Church's view on condoms, I don't believe in suppressors. Unless we're talking about a way to suppress those negative thoughts inside my head, in which case, pass me the Stella Boys. Unfortunately, a bloater then sneaks up on me while the comment section is calling me a cheat for looking after my lung capacity. Right, B. Oh god, oh god, oh god. So I try leading the hordes back towards the hostiles, which grants me a few more swings onto the plague cart before another crackhead makes his presence known. But now I've had a blood enough, so after popping my final stimulant, I gunslinger the bitch out of existence. And while that is extremely loud, with my stamina being refilled thanks to my recreational drug problem, I am able to get several more hits onto the heart while the hordes head towards me. Then once the capacity is set to burst, I drop a molly and spam dodge my way through the flames, and typically I've got nowhere to run to as a bloater or three have popped themselves right next to my pickup, and just as my stim completely runs out. Fucking typical. I attempt to make my way back inside, but with stamina no longer regenerating at the rate it was, I only manage one hit on the heart before retreating as I drop my final fuel bomb. Now with only bullets left in my pockets, it's time to use my vehicle to my advantage, using the horn to drag the hordes back towards the hostiles. And while makes things even better is I can't be shot inside a vehicle, so with the exception of managing my petrol, this is a pretty resource light strategy. And who doesn't love watching a horde of the undead rip through your enemies with impunity? Is that how many juggernauts is that surrounding them? Oh my god. Oh, wait, what? How am I currently infected? What the I'm gonna have to watch the replay for that one. I have no idea what happened there, but that's fine. We'll head back, heal up, and go again. Well, let's take a look back at the game tape. As you can see, we quite clearly hit nothing while also getting infected. So unfortunately, I can only draw one conclusion. Big Apocalypse has put out a hit on me. Instead of going back to base, I head to an outpost, craft some bulk plague cure, and use one bottle of it immediately. I then decide to renew the incendiary landmines at my food outpost, seen as is in a good central location. And once my health has been sorted out with my last first aid kit, I decide on another strategy to max out Abraham's community standard. Time to take down the infestations that have been building up. Although this could be much more deadly than assaulting the plague arts, 3 screamers, a juggernaut, 2 ferals, but at least the bloat is emo as fuck. I've also decided to do this without my usual loadout, so I've got no way to refill my stamina, and that means when I spot a feral, I've got to run to the high ground to prevent my intestines from being on the outside. Although a juggernaut threatens that safety, so I've got to make a move. Gratefully, the incendiary landmines are just in running distance, providing my cardio lacking arse can outrun the couple of crackheads, of course. With my lung capacity lower than my future career opportunities, I drop a pipe bomb and spray my load over the crackheads to hopefully slow them down, which works out great as I get to the safety of my landmines, which saves my arse, and not for the first time. And seeing as those ferals were from infestations, they drop some ammo for me, and collecting those rams certainly goes well. But hey, who isn't willing to singe an eyebrow for 12 rounds of assault rifle ammo? So once I've regained my breath, it's time for another attempt at getting rid of that infestation. And you'll be glad to know, I didn't learn my lesson and proceeded to take it on with literally no stamina items. And somehow with no stamina, I actually managed to eliminate the 3 screamers without being turned into plague grub. Abraham's is now about halfway to hero status, so we continue our infestation culling, although admittedly this time I'm slightly more prepared. Seeing as I only had 5 food resources remaining, I enact rationing and put 2 of those resources into crafting energy drinks. Not that they're needed right now, as once again the Apocalypse's greatest weapon comes in clutch. The last time a rear end was used this effectively, a princess died in a French tunnel. On to the next infestation, which I instantly regret thanks to 2 ferals. And to make things worse, why you not throw yourself out the window, you daft bastard? I get trapped in a screamer's spew and the first feral takes a swing as my infection bar ticks up. I don't know how, but I get out of the assault and throw myself out of the window, but 2 ferals have become 3 and the relentless attack on me doesn't give me a chance to down an energy drink. Yeah, we're in trouble here, Then disaster as I attempt to jump over the wall. Oh my god, no! I get over the wall with 1 HP remaining, less than 4 minutes until blood plague fully infects my body. Get some fucking pills in you butt, get some fucking painkillers in you. I should have taken refuge on the first abandoned car, but tunnel vision sends me towards my own vehicle. No, not today, sir, not today. No! No! Abrams! With their job done, the ferals leave as Abrams joins the army of the undead. Just another soldier I'll have to slay in order to conquer Meagher Valley. I probably don't need to explain why that was such a bad death. No 150 plus infection resistance. You also had a gut pack in 5th skill, which not only reduced our food consumption by 30%, but it also gave us knowledge of cooking and nutrition. And now we only have 3 food remaining total because we used 2 to craft 5 energy drinks, which are now in the back pockets of a member of the Plague Zed army. I'm really struggling to think of a more monumental fuck up that I've caused in this game. He also had 3 cures on him, and I've only got 8 meds left total, but technically only 4 when I use half of them to craft 2 more plague cures. And after grabbing a toolkit from the supply locker, we fix up near Meagher and head off as Stuart to help out the snack scavengers. They're being attacked by raiders, and seeing as I was voted 2013's quickest finger by a Butlins over 40s ladies night, I quickly dispatched the baddies. Although I'm pretty certain they didn't need help with the final hostile, but hey, there's no such thing as overkill. I then wait out the onslaught of the undead in the upstairs bathroom while the peeps I saved dispatch them with ease. Don't get me wrong, a single moddy would have been enough to sort this entire problem out instantly, but I really couldn't spare the fuel to craft them. But once the undead are, well, fully dead, they give me a sack of food supplies and I sell them all the dead guy stuff, then I purchase a sack of building materials from them. And ignoring the 4 juggernauts wandering past outside, I head home to unload. Stuart can then head off on foot to recover the car Abraham's left behind when he, well, died suddenly. But now my craft still has successfully converted food to fuel, so at least I'm able to bring mollies on this dangerous journey. In general, this trip is pretty risky, mainly due to the amounts of the undead, but providing I can avoid any ferals, the journey should be pretty non-eventful. And to be fair, I've only got to deal with one en route, which does unfortunately give a Plague's Head an opportunity to get a free hit in, but shaking it off, I get within 60 meters of the car and take refuge on top of an abandoned bus. Unfortunately, I can't see Abraham's body wandering about, so I pop off a shot to draw everyone towards me, but at least I'm safe on top of this bus. And slowly I manage to take out the screamers one by one as they come out the back door of the infestation. I can then leg it to the pickup and make a getaway with no issues. Although on my way back to the plague art we failed at earlier, I realised there are more plague arts I haven't spotted. The first in this navy store and the second in this farmhouse. Not a great discovery when I'm trying to eliminate the entirety of this side of the river, and my job was literally just doubled. But hey, it looks like the hostile enclave was eliminated by those juggernauts, so that's a good thing. Rather foolishly, I underestimate the amount of zombies that would be in this building, so things have to get rather hot. But that's a great temporary solution that allows me to get a few more hits in, but with snacks being my most reliable way of recovering my stamina, progress is really slow. The best strat I can come up with is getting the horde's attention and leading them down this rock face, so at least they aren't surrounding the play cart. Although it is fair to say I do get a little bit frustrated, as every time I get back near the play cart, fucking feral again! If I see another fucking crackhead, I swear to God, I'm certainly not going to do anything inappropriate. Just a disclaimer. The feral disappears due to mysterious circumstances, and it only takes another 5 minutes of bashing the hearts and dodging hordes before I eventually complete the second phase. And you might be thinking, why haven't you used the earlier strat of dismembering legs of the zombies so they can't get through the doors? Well, that takes up a lot of stamina, and with no stamina items, I thought they would be too risky. And also, I forgot to bring a sword with me. There is that. After one more attempt of beating the sack of meat, I think fuck this and go for a drive to lure the fuckers away. But that doesn't exactly go to plan as the car pretty quickly bursts into flames, but I know there's a repair kit in the back, so it's not the end of the world. However, that feral is certainly not helping. I put it down as my car behind me detonates, and now I've got two options: sneak back to the car to repair it stealthily, or go balls to the wall and take down the plague art with nothing more than my heavy weapon and 2 plague cures. You can probably figure out which option I went with, but that was probably a pretty daft decision, especially seeing as all the hordes are now coming back towards me as I'm attacking the plague art, and Stuart has suddenly become a bit sleepy. So I decided to go on a lovely unsuppressed walk to once again lure the fuckers far, far away from the plague art. But that turned out to be a monumentally terrible idea.
I'd better get ready to dodge that feral.
Oh, Jesus Christ! That's 4 plague ferals ready to turn me into a hashtag, and my options are non-existent. I head back through the barn to assess the structure, but sadly it's not one with a ladder leading to the attic. Luckily, Stuart is a very cardiovascular lady, but all this dodging is having a negative effect on her ability to breathe. With no pills to pop or powders to inhale, the only option is to get to high ground, my destroyed car being the only potential respite. Just get to the car. If you get tackled, you're dead. If you get tackled, you are dead. Gratefully, Stuart can make it to safety, but this just goes to show we really need to make a base that can support all of our needs. We can take out the ferals, then not too long later, the plague art. Then once I've completed another lap to lure away the hordes, I can then sneak back to the pickup and repair it with a toolkit I kept in the back. Then with some pretty tasty loot from the plague art, we can head back to base to allow Stuart to rest up, where we take over as Rose, who is a hacker. And Rose is tasked with eliminating 2 siege sites that have built up due to our lax nature in regards of keeping plague arts asleep. The first can be handled by sniping a screamer from distance, but the second turns out to be a slightly bigger concern. Sure, I can take out the screamer with no problem, but after the bloater popped, it left behind a first aid kit that I very much want. But because of the unsuppressed gunfire, I've got to bitch it onto a car outside while the bloater gas subsides. And while I'm waiting, I realise the snack scavengers who I saved earlier provide me with a sniper support radio command. And as it only costs 100 influence, I ask them to watch my back, and just as a familiar face makes a reappearance. That's my guy! I take him out, however, I'm not able to recover his supplies as his body dissolves into the ground. So it looks like I'm gonna have to just settle for that first aid kit. I collect it with unusual circumstances, then run back home with the sniper watching my back. And that's when we get probably the best curveball in the game at probably the worst time imaginable. A well-oiled machine makes things super cheap to craft, however I haven't got the resources to make the most of it. So instead I head off with a slightly adjusted plan on how to make our base base unstoppable. And you might be wondering why I'm heading in the Meagher with its reduced boot size. Well, that's because I'm completely out of fuel cans and the pickup is running on fumes. Anyway, Rose meets up with a prestige trader, a fellow Red Talon she used to know back in the day. With her shit ton of prestige, she picks up the officers' quarters, the bunk room, the watchtower, the workshop, and the Clio support transmitter, as well as many explosives she can stuff in her pockets once the boot is full. Or trunk, if you're American. With that, we can head back to base and start the construction. Firstly, I stick the Red Talon watchtower in the small slot outside, costing 5 of my 10 building materials. I then destroy the level 2 workshop that refunds us 23 building materials and replace it with a Red Talon workshop costing us 5 materials. That leaves me just 12 building materials short before I can upgrade the lounge to level 3 and train all of our skills at the same time to max out our community without putting them at risk. Finally, I installed the Clio support transmitter to the storage facility, which I can use to supply us with an extra sniper support, although the 9 out of 10 times that I install this, I tend to completely forget about it. Then, seeing as we have 2 outpost slots available and I'm really low on meds, I head out to claim a medical outpost. Although on the way I do pay a visit to the devoted defenders and sell them some generic shit that I had spare, but sadly they aren't exactly influential. So once I claim the medical center next door and upgrade it to level 2, I realise we have a wandering materials trader on the map, but only for another 16 minutes. So I make that my top priority and rush over there as quickly as possible, and thankfully they're seriously stacked with the building supplies I need, although we get a negative curveball spawn literally while I'm in the menu, and the cost increased from 175 to 245 influence. What the actual fuck? Outlaws passing through my town has cost me a bloody fortune. Sadly, with the trader on a timer, I'm forced to purchase the 5 sacks at the inflated price, then head back to start construction on the level 3 lounge. It's gonna take 48 minutes, but in 48 minutes I'll be able to start training our community without putting them in danger. And with the well-oiled machine curveball, we're now earning 14 food a day, although who knows how long that curveball will last. Then before I deal with these outlaws, I've got to deal with another siege site, and I'm glad I did, as once the landmines have taken out 4 ferals that were attracted by my gunshot, I realise I'm in an area I haven't looted and find 2 fuel cans, which is great as I can go back to driving the pickup with its much larger boot space. Well, it turns out the outlaws have set up base at an earlier victory of Stuart's. You know, the time we took down 5 play carts in 54 minutes. But before I get to that, I notice a supply drop on top of a nearby billboard filled with luxury treats, with a high trade value, but sadly they don't stack, so I can only manage to collect 3 of them before I store them in the pickup. Then it's on to avenge my wallet. All 6 of these outlaws must die for increasing my building budget. I can't tell if I'm the US government or the mob. But why risk my life on a 6v1? Instead, I stick a boombox at their back door and climb the ladder on top of their roof. I'm just glad this guy didn't take the easy kill. Whereas I, on the other hand, will always take an easy victory over hard work. Then while I'm waiting for the undead to do my dirty work below, I sit on top of the building with a rifle, camping the ladder, popping 3 headshots in a row, without even needing the scope of my rifle. But hey, I suppose it's better to see it and not need it than need it and not see it. One of the baddies was nice enough to die at the top of the building so I could loot his corpse. Unfortunately, however, that does mean I missed his friend climbing up the ladder and shanking me. But refusing to lose any other member of the Cleaning Up the Nation team, I simply refused to die and pop the 2 outlaws that climbed the ladder. That is some dirty, sneaky tactics. You can say that again, but what kind of person would stab someone else while they had their hands in a dead guy's pockets? Shame on these outlaws. The hordes below me deal with the remaining hostiles, so I jump off the other side of the building and make my way back to base with a moral dilemma. Are we the baddies? Why are they the outlaws? They're just passing through a town trying to scavenge resources they need to survive. Oh wait, it's because Stuart wears a police outfit. We are the law, bitch. With Rose recovering from her stab wounds and a nasty rolled ankle, it's time for Stuart to take command, and this time she's brought her sword. Our target is the Navy store we drove past earlier. I know we've got some stims from the previous playgard. I can go back to removing legs like I'm a West African warlord. Then with everyone crawling in the dirt, I can swap back to the heavy weapon and take out the playgard without any real threat. Don't get me wrong, it still takes bloody forever, and in between phases I've got to remove even more legs, but ultimately our victory is assured, and I'm even gifted with even more stimulants for the next heart we take down. Although we might have to wait a little while before we use that strat again, as Stuart is bloody shattered, and we've got to train up the rest of the squad. I suppose they do say heavy is the head that wears the crown, and Stuart really is the queen of Meagher Valley. Thank you so much for watching, like the video and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.